with, and they would like to try another one. And this was communicated, and what did the Raja of Perlis do? He did an interview of all the state assemblymen, determined for himself that the current Menteri Besar is the popular choice among the state assemblymen. And that's how he was appointed to be the current Menteri Besar of Perlis. Now, I have said, for the reasons why the Sultan of Terengganu was wrong, the same reason why the Raja of Perlis was right, because he listened to the majority view and the view of the person who forms the confidence of the members of the assemblyman who would lead the state as the Menteri Besar. Now that is a nice backdrop to what subsequently happened in Perak. Now in Perak, we come back to Perak, about 1st February 2009 or so, we have representatives from Berang, Cangkat Jering and Jelapang. They did not happen almost at the same time, except for Berang and Cangkat Jering. They decided to be independent, but decided also to be sympathetic to Barisan Nasional. That means if there is any kind of voting in the assembly, they would be voting with Barisan Nasional as though they are part of Barisan Nasional. Now, it is also important to bear in mind, just before this, about 2 weeks beforehand, there was a Barisan Nasional representative from Bota, the Bota State Assemblyman, who threatened to quit Barisan Nasional. In fact, quit for 2 weeks, but rejoined Barisan Nasional after leaving Pakatan Rakyat, after having membership over about 2 weeks. So you have now a completely different situation, complete reverse of circumstances. You have 28-31 in March of 08, and you have 31-28 in sometime in January and February of 09. Now, as soon as this happened, you will recollect, I think it is important that I load to you the facts accurately as possible, because I noticed from all the articles that have been published, the accuracy of the facts are a lot to be desired. I think you should know the facts before we discuss these matters. Now, as soon as these three persons decided to be independent, the Speaker of the State Assembly of Perak then introduced 3 letters and said they have resigned because apparently they have tendered resignation letters. Now, this was of course very much disputed by all the affected state assemblymen, because they said they never resigned. In fact, it then transpired that they have apparently signed undated resignation letters, which as a matter of law, and I must stress this, as a matter of law, it has been declared to be illegal sort of mechanism as early as 1983 in the case called Dato' Ong Ki Hui versus Senyum Anak Mutip in Sarawak, where the court held that the whole idea of democracy is freedom of the voters, and the freedom of the voters is translated to their representative, who should be free to act according to his conscience. He cannot be a puppet where you held by the string and you pull him, even by the political party. The political party should not be doing that, because this guy should be completely independent. And if you are holding a Damocles sword of an undated resignation letter, it really interferes with his freedom and therefore unlawful and unconstitutional, in fact against Article 55 among many others that they have quoted. Now that is the situation with the resignation letters. But in spite of that, the Speaker decided that the 3 state assemblymen will not be allowed to enter the state assembly, because as far as he was concerned, they have resigned. Now he then invited the election commission, because he declared the seats vacant, and he wanted the election commission to hold by election in the 3 constituencies. Now, what did the Election Commission do? The Election Commission obviously got their own legal advice. And I must tell you that the legal advisors in the Election Commission, from my own experience, is just not merely one or two. Sometimes they resort to outside legal advice, very experienced legal advisors, and they came up with the correct legal point, namely that they are the one who decide whether a seat is vacant or not. They are the one. In fact, if you look at the Constitution of Perak, I believe it's 35.4, Article 35.4, it says that it is the Election Commission who determines if a seat is vacant. And if you go to the Election Commission Act of 1958, the same thing is repeated, that it is the Election Commission that will finally have the say whether a seat is vacant or not for a by-election. Now that is clear. Now, the Election Commission, therefore, refuses to hold a by-election. That has become a subject matter of a suit from the Speaker, I believe, who was filed against the Election Commission. Now, on February 4 is a date of many happenings, apart from the fact that the Deputy Speaker, the former DAP representative, Ms. He, turns independent. I told you that she turned independent. They all turned independent, not necessarily on the same date. On the 4th February, that happened. And when the Menteri Besar, Datuk Seri Nizar, realizes that the numbers have changed, 28-31, now 31-28, he decided to meet the Sultan of Perak in order to resolve this matter. Now, what did he do? He went to see the Sultan of Perak, and he decided that he should request for a dissolution of the assembly. Now, most reports in the newspaper say that the MB just wanted to have a dissolution of the assembly. But you have to ask yourself more than that. When the Menteri Besar sees the Sultan, what would be the basis that he appeared before the Sultan and asked for a dissolution? There must be a reason. You just can't appear before the Sultan and say, I want to dissolve the assembly. You must provide a good reason. That reason I provide to you is that he must have told the Sultan that he has lost the numbers. If he has not stated very categorically that he has lost the confidence, he would have said, I've lost the numbers because 3 of my guys have just slipped away from my fingers. Now, if he had said that, the Sultan would have taken note that the confidence that is held by the then MB is lost in the assembly. Now, the Sultan refused the dissolution. That is his right. I will come to it in a short while. The Sultan, using his prerogative right, refused to dissolve the assembly. Instead, the Sultan said, I will give my reply to Nizar the next day, invited Nizar the next day, and he told Nizar that he's not going to dissolve the assembly. Instead, invited Nizar to resign. Now, that is a nice question, whether the Sultan can do that or not. I find that there is absolutely no quarrel with the law, although there's a lot of debate on it. To me, it is so clear that under Article 16.4 of the Perak State Constitution, it says in the clearest of terms, and it says